Texas, fuck yeah! A Star Racing 3030 cam, 45 lift.
Would you shut up? You're f***ing up my shit. Only if it's used on a closed course.
Wink, wink.
I will not send someone out here.
Wink.
No. Sharing is f***ing caring, man.
Hit the like button.
Send that shit around. Guess who just texted me?
Oh.
Your mom.
What up, Block Fam? Welcome to today's episode.
What is today's episode?
Brought to you by Chris Sick Wad Glide.
Oh, no, we gotta throw Law Tigers in there. We haven't talked about them in a
Sure, brought to you by Law Tigers. They're one of our channel sponsors. Big shout out to
cheer noise.
Law Tigers. Check them out, link down in the description below. If you guys are unfortunately like in a motorcycle accident or anything like that.
Or even have legal questions.
Yeah, hit them up. We've been sponsoring the channel for about a year. So yeah, we go to them with like our legal questions and stuff too. They've helped us out quite a bit. So big shout out.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And they are customers of ours as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we're working on a couple of their bikes. So today's episode, we do have a bike in here in the dyno ready to do a baseline pull. Chris, you want to tell people what this bike is, what we're doing, why we're recording it?
Currently, this is a Screamin Eagle 122. I believe it's their stage 3 as it comes out of the box with the Screamin Eagle tune in it and everything. Now this came to us pre-built. This was built by Fort Worth Harley-Davidson, so shout out to them.
Texas, fuck yeah!
They, you know, the customer requested a stage 3. That's what they did for him, and apparently he's not fully satisfied with it. We do have a laundry list of things if you want to share that with them.
As of now, this is what we call EPA friendly.
Correct.
Street legal.
Boring slow boat.
Yeah. So if you live in a state with inspection, you're probably not going to be doing this list.
Sorry about
Florida don't have inspection. Neither does Texas. Yeah. So yeah, we got a laundry list of stuff that the customer has basically requested that we do. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a baseline pull, show you guys the horsepower and torque numbers, and then we're going to add this stuff to it. So we've got a Star Racing 3030 cam, 45 lift, S&S inner cam bearing, cam retention kit, high flow oil pump, billet cuffs, tappets, the larger 64 millimeter throttle body and manifold, 5.5 gram injectors. You guys can read as well as I can talk, so I'm not going to go through that whole list.
Some primary stuff, some clutch stuff, and
we're letting it breathe better, that's for sure, with the
internals.
larger throttle body and manifold.
Yeah,
throwing more fuel at it with the 5.5 injectors, and then yeah, the clutch
and a
upgrade
disclaimer,
as well.
this was just put on by the customer before he dropped it off.
Oh, the Vasani?
Yeah, it was still smoking in when we...
Oh shit. So I used to have one on my FXDR. It's a good sounding pipe. Pretty long too, so I think like it'll probably...
Speaking of FXDR.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
God damn.
We got an FXDR in here, and Chris tuned it up, put that horsepower bay sprinkled.
Dude, it came in, hold on, it came in at 144 foot-pounds and 124 horsepower. That's what it came in with. After just a tune, where did it land?
What are you doing?
How'd it do?
We don't know yet.
Would you shut up? You're f***ing up my shit. Just get out of here. You know, what do you know? Ah, he's really gonna leave. All right, anyways, it ended at 158 foot-pounds and 142.75 horsepower.
Massive.
So that is a huge increase in just a tune. No cam, no nothing. We didn't do shit. We put some handlebars on it and tuned it.
Highest torque bike on the dyno so far.
On this dyno.
Godzilla's coming for you though.
Worst part is we don't even know the magic sauce right now.
Right.
We don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
It was built, it was brought to us. It's a good build, but horrible tune job.
So yeah, this one, I guess next step, let's go ahead and do a dyno run, see what the baseline numbers are, and then we'll do a little montage of getting all this stuff on there, showing you guys what kind of horsepower and torque increase you get with throwing a good amount of parts at it. I should probably get that, right?
Yeah, it'll get sucked up.
Didn't mean to disrespect your dyno.
It's more like the motorcycle.
Right, and these are all getting replaced anyway, so let's get into the rap.
Let's make some noise. Things we want to pay attention to. AFR, which right now is really fucking lean, and the other will be top speed. Now we know it's going to cut us off at like 108 to 112.
Right.
So I'm going to do this pull in 4th gear, 5th gear, and then 6th. First one was 4th, second one's 5th, and the last one will be 6th. So we're looking at, we hit 127 and 93. If we carry that out, remember we have to cheat this. This is all in theory, but if you look at these graphs, they're pretty much going to remain the same. They might catch up with each other way out here, but regardless, that horsepower should peak, give or take, about where it's at. I'd say 95 to 98 is a safe number for total output, and torque is, it's not going to peak anymore. It's already fallen. So we hit our peak torque at 127. Our peak horsepower at best may reach 98. I highly doubt we'd see 100 out of it, regardless. That's what you get on a street legal, or I'm sorry, EPA friendly street legal tune.
So this is a tune from Harley-Davidson. It's a Screamin Eagle tune.
This is right out of the box.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I've said, like, whenever I rode a Stage 4 131 with a Screamin Eagle tune, my right leg was cooking because of how the bike ran with that tune. But then with a DynoJet tune on it, like,
but you didn't know any difference either.
Well,
I'm sorry I cut you off.
Well, no, I did. So whenever I first rode it stock, I didn't know, but then I had Goldzilla, and like we did the Thundermax and then the DynoJet tune on it. And then afterwards I rode King Kong, which was Shade Trees, which had the stock Screamin Eagle tune on it, and ran considerably hotter. Much different throttle response as well. So those things that we're talking about, like with the AFR as well as the top speed limiter, there's a lot of limitations kind of built in.
Let's check the AFR. Current AFR with a street legal tune. It gets pretty fat on the front, about 4,000. The rear stays pretty consistent. That's right on line. Gets a little lean here. It's got a little thick, a little lean. It's nothing horrible. But you can tell that front cylinder is significantly off. It drops, it gets real fat right here. It comes out of a lean place, see this? It starts way up here. So the minute I chop the throttle, it just starves itself. And then it like throws a lot of fuel at it, so we drop down here, and then it takes a minute to kind of burn that out. It kind of begins to catch up with itself, and then again, VE tables throw too much fuel at it. If I tune this, we don't even need to break it down. You and I both know it's going to increase significantly.
Yep.
We could probably get 135 to 137 foot-pounds out of it easy, and the horsepower probably land about 105, 106. That's just the cam. But the tune will help it a lot. Throttle response, temperature of the engine, all of that will change significantly. Since we're not doing that, and we're just going straight to what we're doing, what do you want to do? This would be the moment to ask the people. Do we want to tune it first? Your bets. Do we want to tune it first, see what we can get out of it with a tune, and then put the or do we want to just jump straight ahead?
I think there's more education if you were to tune it, just to see how limiting the Screamin Eagle tuner is, or we can throw everything else at it. I don't know, education-wise.
Well, you know me, it won't take me too long.
It's up to you, man.
The owner knows we wanted to make some content. He's totally happy and
it's up
long-time fan. So
I think with the baseline that we currently have with it, seeing these numbers, if we were to basically like throw the DynoJet tuner on it, tune it, and see how much of a difference it is with all of the same components, that shows a very contrast, I guess.
We'll do it on today. It'll be done the same day, same air, same everything. And then after it's tuned, we'll do our best to cool it down and get Vinny to flip this stuff around today. We'll pull it tomorrow, which won't be the same air, but regardless, we're going to tune it with all the new stuff in it. We're going to try to do apples to apples as much as we can here.
Cool.
You know, and this literally just happened. This whole like, we just tune it from here.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan. So, it does increase and like push back the workload a little bit, but the customers drop the bike off for a bit. So it gives us some time to, be able to do this stuff for education, for science, as we always say, because this is basically going to show you guys like street legal tuner Screamin Eagle is going to be a little limiting versus the DynoJet, like a handcrafted map. So yeah, I think that'd be insightful.
All right,
cool.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm gonna leave Chris to it, and he's gonna tune it up. I got lifts to go build, so
yes you do.
I'll be back.
A few moments later.
All right, we're back. Chris has tuned up the bike, so we're gonna do a poll, see what the new power numbers are, and that will basically show you guys a before and after Screamin Eagle tuner, which is the street legal and all that stuff, EPA compliant, versus DynoJet, custom handcrafted, hand-built map from Chris. Sick white lab. Side note, if you guys want to book service here and get this stuff done to your bike, you totally can. Check it out, blockheadgarage.com, fill out the form and all that stuff, and we'll get you guys on the schedule.
most of y'all are aware of this, and maybe you aren't, and that's okay if you're not. You can be now. So we made three poles. Normally we take the average, right? So we say, what's the average here? Give or take, it's about 134.
Yeah.
That would be a fair average. 133.9, which we just round up to 134. That's a fair average. Our highest was 135.8. Obviously, the first pull we had a nice strong pull, and our engine temperature was just a little bit cooler, which always works to our advantage. So whenever you see a peak number, like obviously I'm gonna, if you were getting a dyno tune here, I'll share all graphs with you if you'd like, but I'm always gonna give you the peak number because that's the prettiest one. Median line here is about 134, which I think if we go back a minute ago, that's about what I predicted. We could probably get 135. So 134, 135, give or take, and we hit it both times. So I'm pretty happy with that. Horsepower is right about what I thought. I mean, we can back up. Justin, I'd love it if you could do that and back up to what I said. And the horsepower probably land about 105, 106. I think I was in this range on both, so I feel pretty confident that that's the limitation of this cam. I mean, I might squeeze a few more foot-pounds of torque with a different setup here and there, but not a whole lot more. That's this cam. Not only do we obviously increase our peak power throughout the range, we could run it out further. Throttle response, which you guys can't feel via YouTube, has significantly changed.
Yeah.
Everything
That's one of those things. Whenever people come and get their bikes dyno tuned here at Blockhead Garage, whenever they leave, one of the first things I always talk about whenever they come back, because we like people to go ride the bike, come back, let us know, that it's all good, that they like the feel of it. The thing that they always mention is the snappiness and the responsiveness to the throttle. Always.
There you go. There you have it. I'd like this one. Obviously, that's the best one. That's the one I would show. That's the one I would tell the world because it hit it. That's the real.
Yeah.
It might hit it a little bit less as it gets warmer, but what usually changes, just so you guys know, horsepower comes up as it gets a little bit hotter, and torque goes down a little bit as it gets hotter. It's pretty common. Now, this didn't make a huge change here, but I can show you other graphs where that the exchange is pretty even. If you give up 2 to 3 here, you gained usually 2 to 3 over there.
Right. So he's talking about it not making a huge change between like a couple of the runs with the new tune. If we look, like our original intention here was to compare it to the Screamin Eagle tuner,
which is up there.
So we're looking at like 93 to 95. So if we take the median, 94 horsepower for the tuner. And then we're looking at like 104.71 at the max for the DynoJet tuner. I mean, that's a significant power difference. Pretty decent, especially for the fact that you're paying for a license and a tuning session, right? Which is gonna come in cheaper than a lot of the tuners out there. A lot of people think with the DynoJet that you have to buy the unit, like the power vision and all that stuff. You do not have to buy the unit. All you have to do is buy the license, and then you have to have somebody tune it, right? So if you guys are local to like a DynoJet tuner, if you guys want to bring your bikes here, hit us up. We can do that for you. I mean, you're looking at, at the low 120 torque, and then at the high 135 for the new, right? So there's a significant difference between these and these once again.
So I know there's a lot of lines to be looking at here. So let's get rid of the first 3. That's pretty flat. Looks like that front still gets a little bit fat there towards the end. Nothing major. You can see all 3 of these are a little bit different now. Keep in mind, this was the first pull when it was about 165 degrees. This was at 180. Yeah, the median, and then the bottom one was at 210. As it heats up, that process changes just a little bit. That can be tuned out. That can be fixed. But regardless, there you go.
So if a customer was bringing this and this was like their final setup, Chris would spend more time tuning it. But since we're going to be changing a bunch of the parts on it,
I'm not going to waste. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time.
It's not really worth
on
it.
That.
Exactly.
Like that's to me that's insignificant. You'll never feel it.
Exactly.
You'll never know it.
Like so, that's not going to be the final tune since we're doing throttle body, injectors, intake, new cam. Like this is going to require a totally brand new tune. Chris just decided to throw this part in there so that we could do a comparison between Screamin Eagle and a actual hand-built tune map.
With both, on both platforms.
So it's significant whenever you get like an actual hand-built map. Doesn't matter for stage 2, hell yes.
Matters even for a stage 1.
Yeah.
I mean, we did that video where, honestly, I guess certain parts of that map, that drop-in map have already been taken care of. Your throttle parts, your AFRs are close enough. Then it'll work. And we kind of proved that it might be worth it and it might not. It depends on who you are and what you're after in the end. But if you have a bagger or an electronic throttle, it's typically much better business to get it hand tuned.
And one of those things that I did mention while he was doing the run was paying attention to that top speed, removing that limiter. Whenever I was here, it was like, it hit 130 and then I kept on going like, because it goes past it, which is awesome. It's a great feeling when you're on the bike in Mexico. Really nice.
Yeah.
And then, we're able to raise that rev limiter, which...
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys got a bike that's capable of it and, you know, your rev limiter needs to be...
If you're truly racing, yeah, I'll run it out above what DynoJet will allow us to, only if it's used on a closed course.
Wink, wink, wink.
Nope, no wink. I will not send someone out here. No.
Wink.
No, you can wink all you want. I'm telling you, I won't.
So next step, the bike's gonna basically go back out into the shop. And it'll get that full list of parts that we showed you guys initially, and then we'll come back in here. Chris will re-dyno tune it, and we'll show you guys the new numbers with all those parts thrown at it. I hope you guys find these episodes insightful, because it does take a lot of extra work. I mean, us doing this part took like, you know, an extra hour and a half, 2 hours or so. So if you guys could do us a favor, if you do find this stuff insightful, educational...
You know what? Share this.
Yeah.
Share it.
Share it.
Share it. Like, sharing is fucking caring, man.
Hit the like button.
Send that around.
Yeah.
Let people know.
Send it to your homies. Let your mom know about it. Homies. Homies, check out this video where these guys are comparing like a Screamin Eagle and a DynoJet.
This is real shit. This is unadulterated real shit.
Yeah. Also, go give Chris a follow.
Don't follow me.
Tell him good job over on Instagram at SickWideGlide. All right, on to the mods. All right, guys, back with the Heritage. It has gotten all the work done, as you saw, by Vinny. Throttle body injectors, whole bunch of stuff, that whole list that I showed you guys earlier. Now Chris has finished the tuning portion, and he's going to do a pull, and we'll show you guys the before and after numbers before all those modifications with the Screamin Eagle tuner, then with just the DynoJet, and then also with all the parts added and then retuned. All right, so let's get a pull on this thing, see what the power numbers are, and go from there.
This series of pulls, let's look at the last few. Pulled up the last three, and I pulled up one more gratuitous run. If we take the averages of all of these, it's pretty safe to say we're about 140 and a half on average, maybe 140 and a quarter, doesn't really matter. Let's just say we're about 120, 119 horsepower. So if we look at this by itself, that's a pretty good grade. There's a little hoopy-dingus right here that I've tried and tried. It's a little dip, but I'm calling it a hoopy-dingus. I tried and tried to tune that turd out of there. If we look at the AFR right here at 3250 is where it gets lean. Well, guess what? 3250 doesn't exist. It goes from 3 to 35. So I've smoothed this out. If we look at some of the earlier pulls, see how much more it was pronounced and how much longer. Obviously at 35 I could fix that, but the 3250,
right,
I was able to lean out 3000 just a smidge and richen up 35 to try to clean that up, and so you kind of see where it landed in the end. But again, that's not anything I'm going to waste a whole lot more time on trying to deal with, because you as the customer, the rider, you're never going to feel that.
Yeah.
You're never going to see that. And if we shrink this to what you would see normally, you see nothing. Looks great. So, I remember on the earlier pulls, I do remember distinctly saying we had a lean when I would initially get on it, and I said, you know, for sake of video, I'm not going to deal with that. But this would be a final product, so as you can see, we're not getting lean when we rip it. I kind of just brought up all the runs. That was the best pull after being dyno tuned as it came in the door. So 135.8, so 136 and 104. After the cam, which was a star 3030.
Yep.
We are at 141 and a half and 120. We're not going to bother looking at the Screamin Eagle pull. Look at that. That's DynoJet 122 as it came in with the Screamin Eagle 447 cam and all Screamin Eagle parts only. And this is after. So there's our increase. From a 447 cam to a 3030 cam. Not at all surprising to me. 64 millimeter throttle body, manifold, 5.5 injectors. I think that's it as far as the meaty parts go. That's not a bad improvement, even over the 122.
So just in wrapping this up in a nice little package with a bow on it for you guys. So for the first initial run, basically Screamin Eagle came from Harley-Davidson, right?
Harley-Davidson with a street legal calibration.
So we're looking at 93.39 horse and 127.27 torque. And then after we did away with the Screamin Eagle tuner, we went up to the DynoJet. We're looking at 104.07 horse and 135.84 torque. So decent increase in both horsepower and torque just from changing the tuner. And then after all the components were added, we're looking at an increase and final number of 120.25 horse and 141.57 torque.
As I have said before, it's not always the biggest number. So we're not always looking at, well, okay, well, so we gained 5 in the torque, 16 horsepower. But not only did we gain, let's look at where we gained all of this.
Yeah, that's the focus on the rideability.
So basically 3,000, everything under 3,000. I mean, let's not forget, people, this is 124, 25 foot-pounds right there at 2250. So you're living over 120 foot-pounds all the way through now, because your horsepower ends at 120 and it doesn't really fall below that till just after 6,000. So you're living above 120 everywhere. So it's not always the big peak number. Keep that in mind. I actually am impressed with the numbers. I haven't seen one stretched out this far with this particular build, so I'm pleasantly surprised. But regardless of that, as I was saying, you want to look at where you're living. All the way out to 6,300, you're just living at 120 plus.
Yeah.
On everything.
Really, really extending that power band another 2,500 RPM. So you're basically doubling where you have that power. And then it's also like the rideability, the smoothness of the delivery. That's going to be a great bike to ride. But like, Chris says, you got a lot of people that will dyno tune it like wide open throttle, but that's not how you ride your bike all the time.
No, and this is all we're looking at here is WFO. We can set it at a cruising speed at about 12% brake, which is give or take the average human. We can just step it to 15, it doesn't matter. That brake is going to account for the wind pressure against you, the wind pressure against the motorcycle, your weight, whether there's an incline or a decline on the hill. So we'll set it safely at about 12 to 15%, and let's just look at the AFR where we're at. At say, we'll start it at 50, 65, 75, 80, 85, and then we'll also see where it goes as we accelerate. Because if you are cruising and that's good, but you go to accelerate and it has a little hiccup or a miss or whatever, there's all problems.
Yep.
So we don't just tune wide fucking open. For those of you that didn't know what WFO means, we tune everywhere in between. That is the pretty number in the end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, everybody's always concerned about the number, but they don't really think about the rest of the where the power is. And so that's one of those things that we do focus on here, because you want to be able to ride your bike like you're not racing it all the time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You need to go through a school zone every once in a while. You need to, you need to just be 35 for, you know, we don't need to speed everywhere.
Yep. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope it was insightful for you. Head over to blockheadgarage.com, fill out the form, get on the schedule.
Oh, guess who just texted me?
Oh.
Your mom.
Your mom just texted Chris. What'd she say?
She said, tell my kid to like, comment, and subscribe.
Ooh,
that's weird.
sheesh.
Melissa gonna get mad.
Well, your mom just said to like, comment, and subscribe, so you should probably
do what your mom says.
Probably go ahead and do that. Like, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe too.
Definitely.
Also,
and
hit
share.
the bell. Hit the bell while you're over there. Share the video.
Share. Do all that good stuff. It's a holiday. Well, you'll see this afterwards, but it's still holiday spirit time.
Sharing is caring. Yeah,
always.
It's like the gift of free content to all your homies and your mom.
Most def.
But shout out to your mom for sure for that call out. That was a good one.
That was. She got us right in time.
Do me a favor. Whenever you see your mom, give her a fist bump for both of us. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, though. Hope it was insightful. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them down in the comments below. Till next time.
Tell your mom hi.
Ride safe out there. Stay vigilant. Catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.